Hello everyone, and we are back for a second episode of our on exam anxiety. But this time, our focus is the parents. So, as the parent, what is it that we can do? How we can be practical into supporting teens, our children. This is what we're going to talk about. So we're doing an introduction today, but we're going to have several series of episodes on exam anxiety. So we are here for the Wired for Success podcast. My colleague Steve Costello and myself, Patience Podevi.
Hi, Patience. Thank you. So we've got a big delay going on right now with the internet, and it's causing some chaos. And it's causing some chaos because I'm not hearing everything that Patience is saying when she says it. I'm hearing it, but it might be a minute later. So it's a little bit confusing. Let's use this. Let's use it and think about examinations and exam stress. So if our young people are not hearing the messages of support, the guidance that we may have to offer, that's parents and or teachers, there's all kinds of things that can happen, then it's going to be difficult, isn't it? So the time they're going to have working towards exams is going to be affected. It's going to be challenged. There's going to be all sorts of stresses coming up. So let's think for a moment about some of the things that we as parents can do. Now, I'm not going to cover these in detail right now because this session really is an introductory session. So let's just think about some of the things that we as parents can do, regardless of whether we were amazing or not so amazing in our own exams way back in the day. You know, we don't need to be high-flying academics or teachers to be able to help out here. We need to think about the home environment, for example. Is it a good place for our young people to study? Can they get quiet time when they need quiet time? So what can we do to help studying in bed? We often talk to do they? What are you doing? I'm studying. But it doesn't look like she's studying. She's got a phone in one hand and papers in the other, maybe. But we need to think about this study environment. Is it the best place for our young people to be working? Do our children have a routine? When do they study for their exams? Do they study at the same time every day, or is it a bit more haphazard? Do they say that they can't study at home and they'd rather study at school? I would be a bit worried if my daughter said that. You know, so we need to be aware of what's happening. Healthy habits make a massive difference. We all know that. You know, so if we have habits in our lives that are not particularly positive, they can cause chaos in the run-up to examinations, and that can cause chaos with our stress levels and all kinds of things. So we need to be thinking about these things. Do we communicate with teachers, or do we wait for parents' evening? It's true. I know many teachers that they will go a parents' evening rather than say, hey, my son or daughter is having challenges with examinations. We need a bit of support. What do you suggest? Most teachers have email addresses. We can use these email addresses. We can call them if they have a phone number published. Teachers aren't untouchable. They're human beings doing it. Know that we need them to be. They can't second guess this stuff. What about motivating our children? Are we good at motivating ourselves? If we're not so great at motivating ourselves, it might be difficult to motivate our children. So we'll need to do some thinking about that, and we'll do that in a future episode. Stress management. How are you at managing stress? If you need support with that, you're in the right place because patients and I can offer that support. But if you can't manage your stress, how can you manage your young person's stress when they're running into exams, running in figuratively, obviously? So, patients, what do you think about this stuff?
This like you said, there's so much that we can talk about. Obviously today is an introduction, but one thing that came in my mind as well is that we mustn't forget that we are the safe haven. So as a parent, we are the safe haven for our teens. So when your children, your teens are home, it is a time to be reassuring. And I think the idea is, how, as a parent, can I be reassuring when even myself, I am under this exam anxiety? Because remember, as parents, we are not immune from the exam period, even though it's not us being there physically, it's our children, but still it has an impact on ourselves as well. So it's, how do we communicate, like Steve was saying before, in a positive manner, but also in a comforting manner, so that they feel that, oh, I can actually go and do it. So for example, and really a quick example here, where I was, so basically my son was going through this exam, and I know that math is not his strong point. So he was like, oh mom, math, I didn't do well. And he got this mark which was below the half. So I was like, oh, okay. So what do you think? Is it the studying and everything? And then he said to me, but mom, you won't believe it, I got the best mark of the class. So I said, what? You got the best mark of the class? So then I was taken aback and I was like, whoa, okay, maybe something is going on with this math in this class, But because I took it more of like in a joking way, in a funny way, and we laughed about it, it wasn't so stressful for him to then think like, oh my god, this has happened. And I think sometimes we've got to be a little bit able to relate to also what happened to us as parents when we were younger, and when we had to go through exams, and maybe we needed a little bit more of this comforting support from our parents or from elders around us and people in school and things like that. And I think that's important to take on that side as well as a parent. Also, one thing that I wanted to say as well is that, so obviously we need to create an environment that, like Steve was saying, a safe environment at home. But also we need to check on resources. And I think as a parent, it's really important to look at that side and to check at what resources are available for your teens.
Yeah, brilliant. I just want to go back to celebrating. So your son got the highest mark in the class, and okay, you had a bit of a giggle about it because he didn't think he got a great mark, which is fine. But the important thing there is to celebrate. I did well. I did well than all my peers. It's not about saying, well, the peers aren't very good, but it is about saying, I did well. And I think sometimes we forget to celebrate. We're too busy chasing the golden goose. The A or the A. Really, if we're working hard, we need to celebrate what we are actually achieving. It's really important. And whereas all adults and children, young people, many of us are not very good at that. But it's okay to celebrate. It's okay to punch the air and say, yes, I did that. When I ride up a tough mountain on my mountain bike and my lungs feel like they're going to explode, but I get to the top and I get off my bike and I punch the air every time. Yes, I did that. I did that. Nobody else did it. And it's a celebration and it's worth having. It's good for confidence and all kinds of things. So I think we should never forget it. One of the things that as parents we need to consider as well is, I mentioned comparison a minute ago, but if we compare ourselves to everybody else who's sitting the same exam, that loses sight of the fact that we are unique individuals. And we've got to keep hold of that. We are unique individuals. We all have our strengths. We all have our challenges. So we shouldn't lose sight of who we are. That's really important. So that's something that we can spend time on in the coming weeks. How do we maintain that? How do we keep hold of that? Meaning, keeping hold of this idea that we're unique individuals with our own superpowers. And sometimes we need to develop new superpowers. So how can we help our young people to do that? So that's kind of a big question. We talked a bit about atmosphere, a positive atmosphere. How can we create a positive atmosphere in a busy household? So let's come to that. So Patience, what else do we have?
I think there's so much that we could add in this, because there's so much to go around. But I think the main thing is to, again, put yourself into your teens' shoes. What are they going through at that time? How can I be of support to them at that time? What is it that they will need more of? What is it that they will need less of? Because remember, I don't think, this is a personal view, but I don't think it is useful to be like, well, you haven't done your chores when it's an exam period, because the person is already on a lot of stress. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do anything, but I'm just saying that we should be lenient and we should learn to balance things when we are in this high stressful period. So I think that there's a few things that can be put in place. And in terms of practicality, we will be sharing more on that in the next coming episodes.
Brilliant. It's going to be fun.
I will. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here with us today. Again, as parents, we want to give you as much individual and specific advice as well.
Okay.
So if you want to give us more details, or if you want to ask any questions, that would be amazing, and we will be able to go through in other episodes. So we are here to support you, and we are here to help you. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, I think that the thing about questions, I have a question in mind, ask it. We don't care about the quality of the question. We don't judge your questions. However, we will always answer them. So if you've got a question, it's important. Okay, I'm looking forward to the rest of the series. It's going to be a good one.
It will be amazing. Thank you so much for being here with us again today. And we'll be here next week talking again about exam anxiety, but with a more practical approach. Thank you so much, everyone. You take care. Bye.
Take care. Bye.